Welcome to Sew Very Easy. My name is Laura, and February is the month of love, which means Valentine's Day. And if we want to make something for Valentine's Day, well, we need to do it before Valentine's Day. So I have a free project that you're going to be able to download and get started and get it done in time for Valentine's Day. And it is this really cute table runner. It has hearts down the side and a really nice row of diamonds. So I'll put a link in the description so you can download this, and let's get started. So for Valentine's Day, I thought this table runner with all of these hearts called Candy Heart Table Runner would be perfect, especially using these beautiful reds from Riley Blake. The red line is called Red Hot. The pattern does give us directions for yardage. But for each one of these hearts, you're going to be able to use a 10-inch square. So let's start and find 8 really fun red-inch squares. From those 8 10-inch squares, we're going to turn them into 5 inches by 9.5. So divide them down the center and just trim off that extra. I would recommend keeping them in the piles together because we do want the hearts to match. The top little portion, we will need 2-inch squares. And in the pattern, they are piece number D. We're going to need them on each side and in the centers. On the ends, we're going to need 5-inch squares. And in the pattern, they are piece number C. This is going to make the heart. So we're going to sew these blocks on diagonal lines and then trim them off. But by keeping them together, we're going to make sure that we do have our points going in the same direction. And those patterns sort of will match up. So by keeping those 2 pieces together, I will draw a line from corner to corner on the background fabric. So match up that beige square so that line's going down the center on both sides. So we want that to poke in. For the top pieces, with those lines drawn, to poke in, and the outside ones to go out. Once these are pinned, we're going to be able to stitch right on those lines. We need to cut off those little ends. And on one block, we're going to press in one direction. In the other block, we're going to press in the opposite direction. That goes for all of those pieces. And that way, we're going to be able to put them together and those seams are going to nestle. So we turn these blocks over. You can see that those seams are going in opposite directions. But to finish that heart, we're going to match up those seams and stitch a 1/4 inch. Now that the hearts are done, the pattern does have us put on squares on the corner, stitch and flip, just like we did these pieces here. The directions are recommending a 2.5-inch square for that stitch and flip. Now we can get those 2.5-inch squares, of course, from our large pack, or we can use the leftovers that we trimmed off. The difference will be we won't be able to get a 2.5-inch square, but we will be able to get a 2-inch square. So I'm going to change all of those little diamonds to be a little bit smaller so I can use up this fabric. So while I'm working on that one block, I will trim these 2 to 2 inches, match them up on those corners, draw that line, stitch, and flip. This block now equals 9.5 inches. I'm going to sew all of the blocks the same way, and I'm also going to make sure that the pressing is going in the same way. So if I've pressed the left side going in one direction, they're all going to go in that direction. That way they're just going to nestle together really nice as we put those hearts together. We now have 8 of these pretty little hearts done with these little ends on them. We'll put them together so we have the points pointing in, and that is creating these diamonds. Now if we use those 2-inch squares, our diamonds are going to be a little bit smaller, but I don't mind the look of it. So we're going to sew these units together. You can either sew them in 2 long rows and put those rows together, or sew them in groups of 4. We're going to have seams going in opposite directions, so they're going to nestle together. We can now put a border on. We're going to put a border along the sides that's going to duplicate these little diamonds, so the diamonds are going to continue. So we will need 4 pieces of that background fabric, 2.5 inches by 9.5 inches. So they're going to go on the side. But we need to duplicate that diamond onto this side. So whatever size square you used here, we need to use it here. Normally, if this is a 2.5 inch, we use a 2.5 inch square, but we don't have to. I use 2 inches, so I will be needing 2 2-inch squares right along this edge. I will still put them face down, and they're going to go towards this point. Stitch from corner to corner, and when that folds over, we're still going to have that triangle. We're just going to have a little extra here, and that's fine because it's just going to blend into the next border. Once those are stitched on, you can put that together with that 1/4 inch seam, match them up, and stitch. And that's going to continue that diamond throughout. And we need to do that to both of the short sides. That little end strip really does finish that off. We can now put borders on. We will sew on the 2 long sides and then add 1 more border onto that end, and that will really give it a nice finish. The finished table runner is 24 inches by 44 inches, and I think it would look cute in any fabric. I also think it would make a nice quilt. Those little diamonds running down the center really do add a lot of character. So we have 8 hearts and a couple of diamonds for a girl's best friend. Now this could be made with just 2 hearts, or you could even make it longer. It's a fun project. I really like the way that red pops, and well, it's going to be done in time for Valentine's Day. Thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and I have a newsletter, all under Sew Very Easy. Thanks again for joining me. Bye for now.